All right, so this week I put a little sneak peek of this project. This project was a converted magazine. You can see in here, it was just an old art, kind of a how to paint book from like the 80s or 70s that I found at a thrift store that I decided to convert into an art journal. And this was the class that I taught at Seaside Soiree for Charity Wings, and I highly recommend you looking it up because they've had two and I've taught at the last two, and the last one that we taught at, I taught with Jen Cushman and Cheryl Waters, and it was just this kind of, I mean, it was an amazing time, but it just really all went so well and so wonderfully, and everybody there was so pleased. So, but what I wanted to share with you is, if you remember in one of the first weeks of our journey, starting this free art journaling course together, I had mentioned that to keep your cover for later. And the reason why is because I was going to show you some fun things that you could use on your cover. And just because they're a little bit more chunkier, so I thought it works better just as a cover. But this is totally something you can use in your pages. Again, just what I like teaching is simple techniques that you can continue to use and expand upon on your own. So for this project, I'll show you, we are going to be concentrating for this video on the flowers that you see here. Now, I'll give you a little guess kind of what it is. You can kind of see there's definitely some texture. You can see this texture there, so it kind of looks like it could be acrylic, and then there's some matte down below. Well, what we used for this was actually crayon, and with all the hype going on Pinterest right now with taking a blow dryer to your crayons, I thought, why not take it, a step further and actually have a little control to it and use it in my hot glue gun. So the idea comes from batik pens that actually are used for fabric and for fabric dyeing. It's used to add wax to fabric when dyed so that it kind of resists in those areas so that it creates those patterns. But what I use is an actual low temperature because I found that this gives you most control. You're more than welcome to experiment with high temperature, but remember, higher temperature, it's going to be a lot hotter and you're going to lose some of that control. So it's just something you want to keep in mind. It's real easy. What you'll want to do is take a crayon, completely take the paper off of it, and put it inside as if you were to put a glue stick. And what I've done, just because they're so cheap, is I actually marked each one, like this is my pink glue gun. So I use this only for my pink crayons. This one here is my orange glue gun, and I've marked it. And literally for $2 each, you can probably grab like, 5 or 10 of these, build them up as you go, and just really have fun with them. So what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna show you a couple little troubleshooting. Here you can see we did get some really nice detail on the flower. As well, we got some big splotches, which are always fun too. The nice thing about the crayon is that it will resist. So if you use water-based mediums, even if you use a fluid acrylic over it, it'll still resist if you rub it off immediately. So I'm just going to show you kind of the idea of what you might get. You can see there, I just added that here. And what you can do too, if you're brave, or if you actually can take maybe an old thimble or something to protect your finger, or some gloves, you can actually also smear it out too, and that gives it a nice fun effect. And that can help you too to kind of just shade in some of these flowers and stuff like that. Creating these droplets. Now with the droplets, what you'll probably want to do is make sure that you have a lot more crayon inside of there, and you can see the crayon doesn't fit exactly. You kind of have to wedge it in. Again, you'll want to make sure all the paper's off because of the fact this is not intended for crayons. You want to take precaution, and the paper when put into the mechanism could catch on fire. So just again, be forewarned that you want to take extra precaution and clean off all the paper. So what I've done here is to kind of make the bigger blotches, I've made sure that I have a nice full tube of crayon going through. And you can just go ahead and squirt, kind of get close if you'd like. And starting off kind of really is tough because you're reawakening all of that dried goodness in there. So I'm just going to squeeze this in. And this was a real hit at the soiree that we did. A lot of the ladies really, really loved this. The idea that you could, is this one even on? Okay, it is on. Yeah, the ladies really loved the idea of just being able to take something unconventional and really have fun with it. So, see, I'm just going to push here. Yeah, if the trigger's not working for you, you can just push a little bit. But again, it's a very uneven, this isn't necessarily made for wax. So it's a very uneven application, but you can still really get some practice in with it and have some fun. And what I love to do is to layer them, of course. So you can see here, I've added this dot there, and I've added these dots there. And you can layer them after they're dry, or you can go ahead and blend them in if you like. Now this might erase fingerprints, just in case you're worried about something like that, because it does get a little hot. But again, using the low temperature really helps to give you that variability where you can have that, it's not so hot to where it's going to scald you. So it's a really, really fun thing to have there. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention before. Oh, crayons. Different types of crayons that you can use. That was the last thing I wanted to mention. There's cheap crayons, and then there's the good old Crayola crayons. The difference that you're going to see there is the wax content versus the color. So in the cheaper crayons, yeah, they're going to be cheaper, but they're going to have more wax, so the colors might not be as vibrant. With this, we had a combination of inexpensive crayons as well as Crayolas. I really love the Crayolas because you get that vibrant color, and that's just what my heart desire is, color. So it's just completely up to you. Play around with it, have some fun. I'm actually going to go and pick up some Easter kits right now with the clear crayons, and I'll do another video on that because I think that's going to be pretty awesome. The clear crayons have a different consistency than these. They're not quite as solid, so it's going to be a little bit more fluid. But we'll talk about that in the next video. But I'm pretty excited to share that with you because I think we can do some really fun stuff with that. So, but for now, this is the first part of what we're talking about here with this journal. I think you're really going to love playing around with this. And I think this will definitely be a prompt for this week. So stay tuned.